get that question. Well, it's not even a question. It's like it becomes a whole part of our meeting.
Just to add, it's the why is really helping, clients kind of build that impression of you. I feel like I know your voice already. I've seen you move. I've seen how the way you
Yeah.
talk, and that
Yeah.
helps.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Out and About podcast, where we break down all things marketing and financial services, what we see working and what we see not working. So, whether you've been in the marketing seat for decades or just put on that marketing hat last month, we're here to support you. So, today on the show, I have Jimmy again, episode 2. Jimmy,
Episode 2.
that's right. We're on a roll at this point. It's the Jimmy and Tiffany show.
I know.
So we're talking about newsletters again, and this time what's in them. So welcome, Jimmy.
Thanks.
Okay, I have a question that I forgot to prep you for, but do you have a favorite newsletter that you always open every time it comes into your? We say newsletter, we mean like email newsletter,
Yeah.
not printed. But anyway, do you have a favorite? You don't have to call
I
it out.
do.
You don't have to call out what it is.
I have a few. And then, I have one that actually was recommended by you. This Thomas from Sciences. That one's so good because,
Good.
I mean, then again, it's also very close to like what I do, right? So for those who are like wondering, okay, what are they talking about? It's really just a marketing newsletter that is talking about data-driven insights about marketing, so consumer marketing in general. Like, oh, did you know that this works? Or when you pick this word over that word, when you make this larger and then that font size smaller, like this is what happens.
Oh, that's a
Fascinating. Yeah.
really good one. I think they recently rebranded, so I can't remember what they're called now, but you're right. That's on my must open every time it comes in too. Like, some you're like, delete, delete. Why did I ever sign up for this?
Yeah.
But that one is like must open, must forward to the team. It's a good one.
What
Um,
about you? Any?
yeah, well, that is one. Trying to think of others. I mean, I have like I like books, so I have some like literature, like reading related ones that are like that. Like I know it's coming in at a certain time every week, and it's gonna have like nerdy book related stuff, and I want to read it. So
Oh,
the
that's a
consistency is key.
yes. I was gonna say that is you just made me think like light bulb moment. Like it comes always at a certain time every week. That's the consistency, building the expectation. It's almost like that. Oh, I lost the name of that experiment where it was a famous experiment about how when they ring the bell
Oh,
and then
Pavlov's dog.
yes, that's the one.
It's
So
so true. It's so true
right,
that one because it comes in on Friday morning, and it's very much about like it's more leisurely, right? So it's like a routine. It's a ritual at this point. Like you
that's
open
the
it,
bell.
you plan the weekend. Yeah, totally. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, so many things our clients could do with that. Okay, so we're going to talk about newsletters, those email newsletters, and what's in them. But first, we'll just start with what this positive vibe that we always start with. So, what are we saying yes
Yes.
to? So Jimmy, what are you saying yes to when it comes to what's in a newsletter content?
Okay, what I'm saying yes to, in general, visuals, but really faces, just show me faces, it intrigues me. Who is that? It's just a natural instinct for us to just kind of scan the room or like, right? I mean, even when we go to a museum, we look at pictures, but then there's one with a face all the way down the corridor, your eyes just get drawn to it.
The
So,
Mona Lisa, everyone
yeah.
has to go to it.
Yes.
I love it.
What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah, it's true. And I have to say, if our fabulous design director was here, Ellie, she would agree. We love the people. We love the faces. We love the brand. What am I trying to say? Like team photo shoots and like doing a ton of
Oh, yes.
photos so that we can use them as stock images. Those are always the best. Yeah, mine was really similar. So I'm always saying yes to just stories in newsletters. So
Oh,
real life stuff, people related stuff. That's always the best.
stories. Yeah. I mean, everyone loves a good story from when we were kids to even now, right? That's what drives a lot of like social media like TikTok, storytelling, like, do you know what happened when I went to the blah blah blah, and then you get hooked.
Yes, exactly. Well, and it just humanizes things. I think, especially in this financial services world, everything can kind of become numbers, and that's the, well, anyway, this is probably like a whole separate podcast, but that's often the I don't know, the hang up maybe, or like the perception is that like it's all dry, it's boring, boring marketing, but it doesn't have to be. There's so many good stories to share. So, mhm. Cool. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So, shall we dive in?
Yes.
Okay.
So what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? What's the problem? Well, we just said people stuff in the newsletters. So faces, um, stories, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, tell us about the data there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, something interesting to share, right? Which I know you quote this pretty often as well, that when I looked at the data for our clients, in terms of their websites, we have homepage, obviously that should be the most visited page, that's a no-brainer. But typically, the top three pages, second or third would be the team page. And it just, nicely kind of like is supported by or dovetails into other research done by other companies where they have shown that people really want to know who are the ones that are doing. I'm just gonna lump the term like salespeople, who are the one that's the team, right?
Mhm.
And this really could be even a social media page for a coffee company, a cafe, showing who's the barista making the coffee.
Yeah.
Even something as non-personal as that, it's a coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. People are just really interested about the team, and what do you think could be kind of like the maybe challenge or thing to
Mhm.
overcome?
Yeah, yeah. So I was gonna say with this particular podcast topic, we could go any way with it, right? Like you want to share blogs, you want to share information, education, but I think the tricky thing is exactly that. Like, how do we share more about people? And it goes into social media and all of that kind of stuff too, but we'll talk about newsletters in particular. And honestly, we get that question. Well, it's not even a question. It's like it becomes a whole part of our meeting. Like, okay, team, how are we gonna share more about your team? There's so many challenges, right? Like, how do we even get the team involved? Everyone's too busy, right? They're doing more important work, better work, I don't know. Or just the other thing, what we're probably going to use as the title, we'll see. How do you get personal without being too personal? So I'll just share it, like, because we have some clients, we have one client. I always call them the one client. Their whole team is involved. It's like built into the culture that everyone knows that you will be sharing something in the newsletter every month. I don't think it's a have to for them because I've noticed a couple people come and go. But especially the leadership, they always just share a little anecdote about what they're doing professionally, what they're doing personally every single month. And it's just baked in. I don't know if they have it like I don't know if they send out a reminder to everyone or if they just do it during their, like a meeting huddle, but it's great. There's always just so much, and it gets so much traffic, such high open rates. Everybody wants to know what people are up to and what vacations they took and all that good stuff. Then we have other clients that it's just not in their culture. I mean, and that's totally fine. Like there's no better or worse here, but there's yeah, some clients it's just like we would never ask our team to share that kind of information. Like that would just be weird for everybody to know who their kids are and where they're vacationing and all that kind of stuff. So it becomes tricky. But I think there's a lot of things you can do to get personal without getting personal.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's totally understandable, right? Because I
I
mean,
know.
in the age of like social media, like just lots and lots of information floating out there, and I mean, isn't there like a kind of popular, famous saying about like what goes on the internet stays there forever, right? So
Absolutely.
people are kind of like, oh, do I really want my picture to be there, to talking about my kids, or um, what if it's something like that? Like, how can we overcome that and let people know, okay, we're not gonna tell you to start telling like your childhood stories, your
Yes.
kids, which school they go to, what age, and like, what is the personal? How can we get personal when?
Yeah, yeah. So we do have some strategies that we've done with clients. And I think so one of the hurdles is like we just don't want to come off unprofessional, right? Like we don't really want to be talking about people's trips to the beach because we're over here dealing with like, lots of money, right? Or like, big life changes and transitions and like important steps in life. We don't want to just like talk about frivolous stuff. So I think in those cases, you can get if that's the hang up, you can get more personal by talking about team stuff that relates to the company. So promotions and anniversaries, or just spotlighting someone and like the kind of work that they do
Yeah.
at the company. So you're really still promoting your services. Especially like anniversaries, they really show the longevity of people on your team and the camaraderie and things like that. So that's a good way to get around that. And then, I can keep talking about this forever. So chime in if you have other things, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I really like to think about it's about the team member, it's about the team, but it doesn't necessarily have to veer so close to
Mhm.
like I mean personal. We use the word personal, but personal is really defined in so many ways, right? Like could be your personal achievements, like a team member
Yeah.
won this award or was
Yeah.
nominated for a certain like top RIA or something like that. That is worth promoting. And then the thing that I really like when you said about celebrating anniversaries, the why behind that is it's really longevity, right? In general, I would say, okay, let's just use something way more not quite like financial services, but let's just say hairstylist, right? You have a hairstylist that you like going to, and then won't you be worried like, oh, what if they leave? I really like them,
Yes.
right? So it's that familiarity, it's that comfort, that trust
Well, and
that will.
that's actually a big one for a lot of our clients too, is that longevity, but also just helping people to get to know other people on the team. So they may know their advisor, but especially if
Oh
you're
yes.
through any kind of succession or things like that, like it's good for people to start to get to know other people on the team or the leadership that's up and coming and things like that. So that's always really good.
Oh, I was gonna add as well that what I really like is also just you can you can also like get quotes from people, and it doesn't have to be like quotes about it can be quotes about like what is the most important financial advice that you were given,
Mm,
right, growing up or something like this,
I always love
or
that
what
one.
is the
Yeah.
thing that drives how you do certain things, like so it's still personal. I think the goal is not um like promoting a certain person to be like how we think a
Employee of the month.
celebrity is,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, we know the celebrity's kids, like where they go to, when did they get their last whatever haircut or something like that. That's not what we want. We want people to know more about the team member. Again, because I mean financial services, right? It's so personal. Like we were talking earlier about how do we even share that with sometimes family members, it's just something personal, but to share that with somebody that is um, at this point in time until you know them is a stranger, it
Mhm.
takes a lot, right? You want to like, oh, I would love to know them a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so another idea that some of our clients have used is just like if you don't want to spotlight a particular person or if they just don't have a lot of that going on, um, you can also do things like what has everyone been reading or like what's your favorite coffee shop in the area, especially if you're local, you can like play up like local things in the area if you're going after like local clients.
Yes.
But yeah, what have you been reading? What have you been watching? I like the reading one a lot because well, I already mentioned that earlier. I love books, but especially if you are a little bit more of an intellectual type of firm, and you have that sort of brand personality, you can kind of play that up a lot with that side of things.
Oh, love it. I
Yeah,
love it that you said that because it just gave me like a little bit of a good tangent. It's also about what works with your brand as a company,
100%. Yeah.
right? Are
Has
you
to fit
very
the culture.
research heavy? Then maybe help people know, like kind of, almost like earlier what you asked me, like, oh, what's your favorite newsletter? That's personal. But
Yeah.
then it's also kind of work related. Is yeah, so it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And also you don't have to call out like, Bob says his favorite book is this, and Sarah says her favorite. Like you could just do a collage of book covers, or do like a I don't know, like a pie graph or some sort of fancy graph or something.
Poll.
Or like, yeah, like pull them on different things. Um, I saw today that we're recording, it's Pumpkin Spice Day, apparently. So, you could do the whole like if you're more of a fun brand, you could do like, are you into the certain drinks or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or coffee for the whole team today, and then there's a team photo, right?
Yeah, everybody guess everyone's coffee holder.
Like, yeah.
Another one that I liked, you mentioned the best advice, which I love that one because it goes into kind of the why of like why you're in financial services or why you're, financial planning or wealth management or any of those things, like why you got into the job that you got into. But another one I like is your first job, which I just think is like random and funny. You don't know if it's gonna be like babysitter, lifeguard. Like I just think that one's kind of again like personal, but it's not really you're not really telling
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about yourself, right? Kind of interrelated.
And I think even like when you talk about the first job, right? Even if it's like, oh yeah, I was like babysitting or something like that, it may sound like, oh, that sounds, I don't know, like are people interested in that? Does it mean anything to them? I think it does this to, depending on who, right? It does. Like we would think, oh, okay, that it, basically it even just makes me know you better.
It's human, right? Like we're
Right? Just to know a little bit about you. Sometimes we form opinions. That's how we get to know people, right? Like, oh, she likes this, or he likes to read that. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. He must be really interested in this topic. And then you kind of form a picture about kind of an idea about what this person is, and just leading it back to, we have another client where they were sharing that when prospects, right, come to the first meeting, they kind of know whether it's gonna close. Like if it's gonna close, it's gonna close in the first meeting. And part of it is really about if you do enough work where people are know kind of they feel like they know you before they know you, before they meet you. Then when they meet you, it's really about are you living up to what my impression of you is? And
yeah.
if it is, I feel like I know you already. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna we didn't have this one on the list, but a lot of our clients are doing more video in
Oh yes,
different
love
ways.
that.
Yeah, I mean some are, professional shoot, well orchestrated, well produced. Others just pick up the phone and are just, creating sort of one-off videos. But either way, like having those like as the image, instead of a blog post, like that's the image. It looks like
Oh
you can click on
yes.
it and go listen. Like that gets so much engagement too. Because again, it's like getting to know people. I can watch their face, I can see them talk. Yeah.
Oh yes. That is a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a great point. It may not even be about what do you like to eat or what do you like to read. It could be just putting a video and then, you are the ones that is headlining that video, right? You're the one talking people through things. It's essentially, it's kind of like, I would imagine, um, once we have more of these podcast episodes going out, people are going to get familiar with us too, right? Like, oh,
That's right.
I feel like I know your voice already. I've seen you move. I've seen how the way you
Yeah.
talk, and that
Yeah.
helps in just building that chemistry, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's true. They get to know you. Honestly, that's a big reason we wanted to do this podcast is because we just wanted people to get to know the team and we love hanging out. So we figured other people might like hanging out with us and then they know what it's like to be in a meeting with us. So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Any other ideas? Any other-
Um, yeah, I was just gonna add to that last point about how, just something frivolous and funny. How like sometimes we're so familiar with, for example, like a celebrity's voice,
Yeah, yeah.
that even just hearing it, we'll know that's this person, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's about that. So imagine when you meet a celebrity, a lot of times people meet them. I'm not saying we're celebrities. I'm not
Totally
saying
different.
our clients, the goal is to become a celebrity, but just using
Yeah.
it as an example. Sometimes you meet them and you feel like, Oh, I feel like I know you already. So
Yeah. Well, and I think you said this earlier. If not, I've heard you say it before. Then you're living up to, I think you did just say this, living up to who you were, right? There's
the
like
expectations.
building the trust. Yeah. By like just being an authentic voice in person. So cool. Well, we always wrap up with like, what's the one thing clients or listeners should go do? I say clients because that's where this came from. Like we often finish huge presentations. We've been talking forever, and they're like, okay, but what's the one thing? What do I do now? So we haven't been talking for that long, but still, what's the one thing we should go do?
What is the one thing? What is the one thing? Let me go back to kind of like saying yes to. I would say we talked about getting personal, and how to get personal without getting personal. But um, it's also like that takes time. So our one thing is always, what can you do right now in this moment? Once you
Yeah.
kind of stop this podcast, what can you do? Just really put pictures and pictures of like faces, even stock pictures, right? It doesn't need to
Mhm.
be like, let me find a team photo right now. It could be a stock photo to just accompany your blog, but if you put faces in it, it just feels warmer to see like faces in the newsletter. What about you?
Okay, so mine is actually one that we didn't mention before, but it's easy. So if you have events, I say events, that sounds really big, but any kind of like just team gathering, just taking candids, right? Like whether you're volunteering at the beach for beach cleanup or, it's a huddle meeting in the morning and everyone happens to be wearing blue, right? And it's funny, like just just take a take a quick picture, and try to use those, especially if you do have events, if you have volunteer events going on, or like you're giving a presentation, things like that. They're great for like in the blog and like the announcement section, like, hey, we've been
Yes.
out, we gave this presentation at this one place, or our team member so and so, spoke at this conference, or we were out volunteering. All those kinds of things they just make easy content. So, and people
Yeah, I
love
love it. I think it's, just to add,
picture.
it's really helping, the why is really helping, like, clients kind of build that impression of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my one thing. Sometime this week, take a picture of the team or some of the team, someone on the team, and use it in your newsletter. So, cool. Awesome. Anything we forgot? Anything else we should chat about?
Oh, I know we can go on and on,
No, we're good.
about all of these, but we gotta save some of the good stuff for future episodes.
That's right. Exactly. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for another podcast. Like I said, we're on a roll. We're episode 2. If you loved this conversation, stay tuned for more. You can also head to outandaboutcommunications.com/community and get on that list. We're going to be sending out all kinds of, I don't know, we always have templates and checklists and all the good things. We're always coming up with more things to send in those. So go ahead and sign up for that, and tune in next time. We'll keep chatting.